Well, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on this special edition of Storm Team 5 Plus. I'm meteorologist Ryan Kudish, joined by Nathan Himsel, of course, and we got a special guest joining us today on, of course, National Weather Person's Day. How fitting is this, Nathan, that we have a meteorologist joining us on National Weather Person's Day? So let's get right into it. Joining us this afternoon, he is the former chief meteorologist at WKRG-TV in Mobile, Alabama, a 16-time regional Emmy winner, an author, an adjunct professor, and a certified broadcast meteorologist with both the NWA and AMS. Our guest this morning is none other than the legend himself, Mr. Alan Seals. Alan, thanks for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Always happy to share the word on weather.
So how's everything going down there today? Is it so you're still in Mobile, right, roughly? Or?
Yeah, so I'm in Mobile, Alabama. Today it's sunny. It is, we just got to 50 degrees. Yesterday we were 72. And then this past weekend we were down to about 19. So ups and downs on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, and did you guys get any snow down there, or was it all just cold air coming down from that Arctic air mass?
We actually did get flakes, but nothing accumulating, as opposed to this time last year where we picked up 7.5 inches of snowfall.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about 50 today, and that's a pipe dream for us this time of year.
I know it.
we had some snow on the ground this morning. We got about an inch or two on the ground. So it was certainly, I'm a snow guy. Nathan's a snow guy as well. So when we have those beautiful days of snow, we certainly don't mind that around here. But let's get right into it. Just kind of tell us, for the viewers that are watching us back on our streaming app, WFRV Plus, your background and why you became a meteorologist, kind of the intro meteorology question to everyone that goes into, freshman meteorology course.
Okay, it's a long story. I'll give you the short version.
We're here. We have our popcorn ready, so we're good.
I grew up outside of New York City and in Mount Vernon, New York, where we get, just like Wisconsin, we get 4 solid seasons. As opposed to here on the Gulf Coast, where you really don't get a fall. I mean, the leaves kind of turn a little brown. It gets cold. It gets warm. But anyway, I was outside a lot as a kid, always riding my bike, playing with my friends, walking to school from elementary school all the way through high school. And I was always one to enjoy being outside, as I still am. So as a little kid, some of the things that really fascinated me was, first thing was hearing thunder during a snowstorm. I experienced thunder snow when I was probably in the 2nd grade. I couldn't imagine how it was possible that it could happen. It scared me, but it also intrigued me at the same time. Then in 3rd grade, we had a teacher, Miss Costello, who took us outside for a class lesson on just looking at the clouds and imagining what shapes they reminded us of. That's known as nephelokosigia. Aristophanes, the Greek playwright, coined that phrase, but no one uses it anymore. In any event, while we were doing that, I was trying to figure out how could the clouds float. To me, it was amazing that clouds, which are made of water, sometimes ice, weigh so much, yet they float. And you can get an inch or 2 of rain at your house. A half hour later, the cloud that produced it is gone, totally disappeared. So that stuck with me too. By middle school, I finally had my first earth science course. And of course, there was a unit on weather. And then it really started to stick with me that, okay, this weather is pretty interesting. It hit me that nothing on earth happens without an influence from weather. Weather controls our moods, it controls our economy, it controls transportation. At the same time, I guess like a lot of kids, at least for me as a young man, baseball was my big thing. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. And then I found out I wasn't that good at it, which was fine. And then my second passion was music. I played trumpet all the way through high school. And originally I was thinking, okay, I can be a professional musician. But then I also found out I wasn't that good at it. So I knew I could never make a living playing the trumpet, even though I think I was a pretty good musician. So you take that willingness to be a performer and the science of weather, and the two came together in high school where I realized I could be a meteorologist on TV sharing weather information. And one of the things that I'd never really thought about in the background, my dad worked behind the scenes at CBS News in New York. So growing up, I met a lot of the legendary TV broadcasters, especially the staff of 60 Minutes, Andy Rooney, Walter Cronkite, people who my generation know very well. but I never thought of it as a profession until high school. And even then, I didn't watch TV weather. I just knew that I loved weather, I liked performing, and it was a natural combination. So I ended up applying to a bunch of colleges, ended up going to Cornell, majoring in meteorology, minoring and having fun. And unfortunately, I had too much fun, so my meteorology grades went downhill. But I recognize that. I learned a lot about myself. I did learn some meteorology. Oh, I was lucky enough to actually get an internship at the Weather Channel going into my senior year. And the Weather Channel, I think they still have internships every semester. It was a paid internship where you worked in Atlanta at the Weather Channel. And I learned this really classic, important information. I learned that weather doesn't stop at night. And it's funny that a lot of people, when you go to bed, you assume everything stops, everything's calm. But as a meteorologist, when you look at the data, the satellite, the radar, the reports overnight, there are so many things happening. So after that, I knew broadcast meteorology was my track. In college, all my communications efforts went into trying to become a better communicator, trying to lose my New York accent, which it comes back if I want it to.
Oh, you can use that anytime. No worries. You can use it. It's a safe space here.
His Boston accent.
Right.
It's safe here. Don't worry.
Okay. And then, so after Cornell, because my grades were not what they should have been, I applied for jobs on TV. I applied for graduate school. And fortunately, graduate school came through. It was the best thing I ever could have done. FSU, Florida State, offered me a teaching assistantship, which at the time I didn't really know what that was, but it's a financial aid to a graduate student, and the graduate student will teach or be a TA or teaching assistant. And I ended up teaching intro to meteorology to non-majors. And to me, that was the highlight of my week, just sharing weather information with a live, I call it an audience, even though they're students. And that was really good training for where I ended up. And of course, the short version after that, after graduation at FSU, my first job, Albany, Georgia, as opposed to Albany, New York. Albany,
is the better Albany, or which one's better? Big question.
Don't be biased.
Well, okay, so I say this. For all the places I worked, Albany, Milwaukee, Chicago, Mobile, they are all better.
Okay.
Yeah, I treated them like friends and family, where each one had something unique and positive that really made me love where I was.
Yeah. So before I let Nathan jump in for a question, something you mentioned in that last question. First of all, dictates our mood, the weather, absolutely. But you said you're a baseball fan. Yankees, Red Sox.
It was Yankees. Yeah.
Yankees, let's go. We've gone into a lot of exchanges here because Ryan's a Red Sox fan and I'm a Yankees fan.
Well, I have a brother in Boston, so my brother and his nephews and his sons and granddaughters, they're all, of course, New England and Boston and whatever.
Yeah.
So Yankees fans won today. Yankees fans 2 today. Red Sox fan 1. All right. Yeah. I'll step back on this one. All right, Nathan, go ahead for one.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your working journey. So you tell us that you've traveled around quite a bit. You were in Milwaukee. You're now in Mobile. Can you guide us through that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So my first job, Albany, Georgia. I was there for 1 year. I was weekend meteorologist, and then during the week, I was a news photographer and a video editor. And now still photography became a hobby. I picked it up in 5th grade. My dad gave me his old camera and I started taking pictures. So going from still photography to videography was really an easy transition. I was there for 1 year. I didn't stay longer because I wanted to be a full-time meteorologist and I wasn't really making that much money. So I ended up applying for a job in Milwaukee, a place I had never been, didn't know anyone there. I got the job at WTMJ TV and radio, worked with Paul Joseph and Jim Ott for almost 5 years. Had an awesome time in Milwaukee. It's where I met my wife. So I married a cheesehead. We're still going strong. And I learned this really critical lesson that we don't teach young people enough, and that is you can be the most qualified person, you can be the best team player, but when your company management decides they need to start saving money, they start trimming people wherever they can. So after 4.5 years in Milwaukee, a new news director came in and offered me a salary reduction. He offered me less money.
Yikes.
That was an easy no.
Yeah.
My wife supported, this was right after we got married. She supported that because she knew I was marketable. I had been applying for jobs. And as luck would have it, within 2 weeks of me saying no to the news director, I got hired at WGN in Chicago, worked with Tom Skilling.
A legend.
Yes. So I was there for 4 or 5 years. Same thing happened. A new boss came in, decided to cut my hours, and I lingered for a while. I stayed until the next opportunity, and the next opportunity came in Chicago at the NBC station, WMAQ. So I worked there for a year as a fill-in meteorologist, kind of a producer, sort of like a weather office chief in terms of running the operations. But still, I was never getting that full-time, 5 days a week weather opportunity that I wanted. So as luck would have it, a new boss came in to WMAQ, fired half the news department, and this followed something that people of a certain age remember. The talk show host, Jerry Springer, who is infamous. He did his show from the NBC Tower in Chicago, same building where the TV station was. I've never gotten the full story, but the WMAQ tried to hire Jerry to do commentary on the 10 o'clock news. And there was a revolt both internally and externally, and that led to a change in management, and that led to a change in staff. And for me, it was the right push at the right time to realize that in Chicago, even though it's a big market, great place to live, I wasn't getting the opportunity to move up and grow. So around shortly after that, in Mobile, WKRG, a Nexstar station, called me up, said, "Hey, why don't you come down to Mobile? We just bought a new Doppler radar. We have the latest weather computer. We have a leased helicopter." And that was 27 years ago. So I've been here ever since. Now, I did end up leaving that station 6 years ago. We couldn't come to terms on a contract, and that happens. I have no bad feeling about that. And so I went to the NBC station here in Mobile, and I was there for 4.5 years before finally retiring a couple of years ago. Well, I call myself semi-retired.
Busier now that you are retired? One of those situations?
Oh, very much. I still write for the local newspaper. I teach a course which starts up in an hour and a half here at the University of South Alabama. It's broadcast meteorology. I've been teaching that for 27 years, which is a lot of fun. In fact, I have one of my former students is in Milwaukee right now on TV, and I've got dozens scattered across the country. So I do that and do a little weather consulting. And then the big thing is I was elected president of the American Meteorological Society, and that is nearly a full-time job.
And we'll get into that later in the interview. But, take us back to your career. I think the biggest thing that I remember, seeing some of your posts online about Hurricane Irma when you were down there. But take us back to your, throughout your TV career, especially in Mobile. What would you say is the most memorable event that stuck out? Probably going to be Hurricane Irma, but if there's anything else that really stuck out, then go for it.
Yeah. So I guess there are two. Boy, there are a lot of things that stuck out. To me, it's the whole accumulation of how what you do, what I did, what other broadcasters do is serve the local community. We give people the good information. We give them the information when it's not so good, but we give it to them to try to keep them safe and healthy and happy and productive. So on one hand, that whole big picture to me is what stands out is how many people to this day still stop me and tell me, "You helped me do this. My grandmother used to love to watch you, and she would make the house be quiet when you were on TV." The usual stuff of my cat watches you on TV, just all sorts of things like that. But when I moved to Mobile, I had never really had to forecast tropical weather. So Mobile, being on the northern Gulf Coast, 5 years after I got here, Hurricane Ivan hit Baldwin County, the neighboring county to Mobile County. It was pretty intense, devastating. And it was during that storm, I basically used everything I had ever learned as a meteorologist, as a communicator. And people, again, to this day say, you were there. We had no power. We heard your voice on the radio. We followed your instructions. We got through the storm fine. And then even funny things, which little things I forget that I say. Someone said, you told us right after Ivan to go outside and look at the Milky Way because it's the only time you can see it when there's no power across the entire region and there's no light pollution.
Wow.
So things like that stood out. What also stands out, just last month, my wife and I had the house painted, and the chief of the painting crew said to me, "You came to my school when I was in third grade in 1999."
Wow.
So those are the things that really stick out to me, is how people react to me, what I've done. They respect what I've done. I've always tried to keep a high standard of professionalism, but have fun with it, make weather fun and interesting. And then, so Ivan, then Hurricane Katrina, those are the two big deals. What's interesting about Mobile, and a lot of people don't think about it, is we're right on the Gulf Coast, literally on the Gulf of Mexico. And we don't get really bad tornadoes. We get EF0s, EF1s. Yep. So statistically, no one in Mobile County has been killed by a tornado in over 30 years, which is great.
Wow. Yeah.
So we don't have those big bad tornado outbreaks that northern Alabama gets and central Mississippi. So back to the Irma thing, which was bizarre and funny to me. Trying to serve the public, whenever we would get a big hurricane threat, I would do a special forecast just for YouTube, separate from TV, because as we know on TV, there's never enough time to tell everyone everything they need to know.
Yep.
So I did that for Irma, and the number of views went from like 10,000 one day to 300,000 the next day. And I thought to myself, oh, wow, this is really interesting. People want information. And I did what I always do. I tried to step through the information in my mind, answering the questions that people would typically have. Where's it going? How do you know? What if? All of those. And then put in some science on how hurricanes work and how we know what's going on. So as Irma was moving through the Caribbean, or just north of the Caribbean, one of the segments I did on YouTube, when I went to bed, I think it had like 400, 500,000 views. I didn't think much of it. I woke up the next day. I got a call from the station saying, you're going viral on Reddit. And I said, what's Reddit? I honestly didn't know. Answer. Yeah, I didn't know what Reddit was at the time. And it turns out that a gentleman from the UK saw the YouTube forecast, posted it on Reddit. People started sharing it, looking at it, and it just went viral. And within a couple of days, it was up to almost, I think, 5 million views.
Wow.
Wow.
My niece, who was about 30 at the time, called me and said, "You're trending. You're beating Kelly Clarkson."
Wow.
So
that's an accomplishment right there.
That's a big
and it wasn't. I laughed, and my closest friends and colleagues agreed with me when I said, "Okay, but that's what I always have done. There's nothing unusual or different about that segment other than somebody saw it, and other people were curious." And it was funny because a lot of the comments said the same thing. It's like, "Oh, that's no big deal," or it was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." But to me, the social media mentality of, if everyone's looking at it, I need to look at it. That's why it went to 5 million. Although I think it was substantial. I think it was pretty good.
That's awesome.
So let me ask you this, because I mean, the world of broadcast weather is starting to change. I mean, we're in a podcast setup right now talking about weather. So in the changing world of weather media, how have you seen it change over time, and where do you think it's headed?
Right. You said it. Boy, when I was a young meteorologist, to imagine you could have a device in your pocket that gives you weather data anywhere on Earth, and it also lets you make phone calls. And then it gives you email, it gives you internet, it gives you streaming live anywhere capability. So cell phones really changed a lot of stuff in the early 2000s. Following that, and COVID, I guess, was another push for innovation with, as you said, Zoom. It's like no big deal anymore. It's amazing we can do this without the backing of hundreds of thousands of dollars of satellite receivers and transmitters.
Right.
So the pace of technology is, wow, it's beyond fast. So the future is, I can't begin to really imagine, other than I know that the current trends is broadcast TV. I think it has a good life. I think it will continue to serve local communities because no one knows your town like you know your town. No one knows the landmarks.
Exactly.
Even though AI in the sense of AI voice, AI forecasting, AI avatars that can look like you or look like me, even though those are becoming more common, when it comes to weather, and especially dangerous weather, people want and need a human being with compassion who can relate to them as a human being rather than just spitting out a number or a percentage. So I think that TV will continue. It will certainly continue in local areas. But as you know, just like what we're doing right now, everything else is spreading out. You have gas station pumps, elevator TVs, refrigerators have TVs now. So everywhere you go, stadiums, there's a place to present or deliver weather information. And that's what technology is doing. Hopefully, it'll continue to make it seamless so that you don't have to treat each platform individually. But yeah, that's where it's going. The thing that worries me a little bit is the AI avatars, to where already, I don't know that it's happening in the US, but overseas, some broadcast stations are using lifelike AI avatars of their news anchors to read the news. And for a meteorologist, the worst thing that could possibly happen is you have an AI avatar reading an AI forecast that looks like you, but it's not you, and it gives bad information. And then you get blamed. You have a reputation to maintain. AI has no reputation.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we will come back and we will finish out the rest of our show. So stay tuned. Our interview with Mr. Alan Seales will be coming up right after this one. All right, welcome back to our interview with Mr. Alan Seales. So we have about a little under 6 minutes. So we have a quick turn off at 1:30. So I want to ask about your role in the AMS. You said you're the president of the AMS. Kind of talk to the viewers about what that is, because when they see their meteorologists have that accreditation, I don't know if they know exactly what that means. So kind of tell your role about all that, and how did you become the AMS president?
Well, I'll answer the last one. I don't know, but I'll work my way back to that. So AMS is American Meteorological Society. It's an organization that's over 100 years old. It is not just broadcast meteorologists. It is people in academia, research, government, private vendors, private industry, people who make weather instruments. It is weather consultants. And then, of course, it is broadcast meteorologists. And like many societies, if I didn't mention, it's 12,000 members. Like many societies, it's all about making the members better professionals at what they do. And part of the mission statement is also for the benefit of society. So it's not just, hey, I'm a better meteorologist. It's we are serving society with better information and better practices. So they offer certifications for broadcast meteorologists. They offer certifications for consulting meteorologists. And we have now a new certification for digital meteorologists, among a few others. So that seal, which people typically see on the bottom of the screen next to the person's name in gold letters, it's a program that goes back to the 1950s. And it's all about the society saying, hey, we want to help weather broadcasters be more effective communicators of weather at what we think is a high standard. So I joined as a graduate student. I earned my seal pretty quickly after I graduated. And once I was able, about 7, actually probably took about 7 years into my career, I was finally able to go to conferences, annual conferences of the AMS, and made a lot of great friends. To me, it's like a family reunion. I always love to present and share my knowledge with colleagues so other people can grow and learn. So after a while, people said, hey, Alan, you'd be really good on the SEAL certification panel. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And it was great because you get to see other people and pick up ideas and help other people grow. And then they said, well, you were a good panelist. How about you chair the committee? Okay, I'll do that. So I chaired the committee. At the same time, I was active within the National Weather Association, NWA, and almost a parallel track in both organizations, similar missions. In the early 2000s, the AMS gave me an award for a piece I did on lightning. I won an award also for a piece on climate change. And then AMS, I left out, I was also chapter president in the 90s in Chicago. Nice. So some of the former chapter presidents had names like Rossby, Fujita, names that a meteorologist would say, wow.
Right. The viewers at home are like, who?
Yeah. So by the 2000 teens, AMS invited me to run for council. I ran for council. I was elected. And then I turned around and they asked me, would you like to run for president? And initially I declined because I was working, and it's a heavy lift. And then they asked me after I retired, and I agreed to do it. And here I am, president.
There you go.
Now, I remember a couple of years ago, I had actually met you at the NWA conference, and you had told us a little bit about a book that you had written. And you have a few of them out now, correct? Can you tell us about that? Because we have about a minute left to show.
Sure.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up with that. You have to give it pretty quick. So
I know how this works. I've been on TV before.
Exactly.
I'm
your producer. I'm telling you, you got a minute and 30 seconds. So
3 weather books. One is a coffee table photography book. One is a sort of weather from A to Z general weather information book. And the one that you guys would really like is it's called A Career in TV Meteorology. It's both a behind the scenes look at my career and a how-to book for students who want to get into it. And just go to alansealsauthor.com and you'll see all 3.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today on, like I mentioned, a very cool day to be a meteorologist on National Weather Person's Day. We really appreciate it, and certainly all the best to you. And have fun teaching the kids in a few minutes at the class. You said it starts in about a half hour?
Yep. As soon as I leave here, I'll drive 15 minutes and head to the weather studio.
Well, at least you don't have to deal with snow today. That's the good news there. But
Right.
Once again, thank you very much for joining us, and we appreciate it. And we certainly will follow up with any questions outside of television if we have any in the future.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one. Take care. Have a good day. All right, well, that was Mr. Alan Seals. Nathan, what a great chat we had today, huh?
That was great. I had spoke to him at NWA a little bit ago, and it was just as good today.
Yeah, what a really inspiring person. We'll see you back here next week.